There's a lot of advice out there about how to leave corporate and monetize your expertise. But what people aren't telling you is that it's mostly online courses and coaching. If you're highly sensitive or neurodiverse, that can feel impossible to deliver. It makes you feel like you're left out. Like, what are you going to be able to do? But I'm here to tell you in this video, there are quieter ways that you can monetize your expertise and start to develop your own sovereign stream of income. Hi and welcome. My name is Mira. I refer to myself as the Neurospicy Crone. I'm deep into my 50s and I've been running my own businesses for over 30 years. I've been able to dodge any sort of a corporate situation. And so I know how to generate income based on my expertise. And as my expertise has grown, I've been able to help other people do the same. So in this video, I'm going to share with you 5 quieter ways to share your expertise and monetize it so you can start your own passive stream of income, not passive, but proportional. And I'll explain that in a moment. You can start your own sovereign stream of income and either have that be a bridge to retirement, or maybe you've already left corporate and you're ready to do something on your own. But there's some myths we need to debunk, and I'll share those 5 ways to do that too. So first of all, the difference between passive income and proportional income. Passive income is a myth. I have been involved in product-based companies where people continue to order and there is a passive revenue, but that revenue will over time dissipate completely. So you always need to kind of stick your oar in the water as you're paddling downstream a little bit. It's rare for anything to be truly passive. That's a big myth, especially initially. There's some effort involved in creating something, getting it out there, letting people know about it, and then it can become less effort. So that's the proportion. When you've got a salary job, the proportion of effort required for your work is always high. When you are starting your own income stream, the proportion starts out higher, but then it trickles off. So you can build something once and continue to earn income off it for a long time. So that's the difference between proportional income, which is what we're going for, and passive income, which is largely a myth. Another big myth that I would like to bust is that when it comes to these bigger businesses that people create for themselves, let's say somebody does a $100,000 launch of an online course or program. And I can tell you from experience, I have done my own and I have seen behind the scenes of many online launches. And I can tell you that 60 to up to 80% of that income is spent making that income. So the take home on a $100,000 launch can literally be $20,000 or $40,000. So my method is to let's just focus on making that $20,000 to $40,000 and forget the big hullabaloo, because you've got other people you're working with. You're oftentimes doing paid ads. And I have some real ethical considerations with paid ads to the broligarchy. I'm not interested in playing that game. And so my method is really and truly a solo business where you're using your own expertise and your own authentic connections in the world to monetize the amazing thing that you have to offer. And if you're over 50, you for sure have something amazing to offer the world, whether that's your own special recipe for gluten-free cakes, or all the experience that you learned in your HR business role that you were in for 30 years. I was working with a woman who had a big position in the HR department of a large corporation, and she had some mad skills, but didn't want to have to go the coaching route because it was just too intense for her nervous system. It was like, oh, all the schedule, the pressure. When we're coaching, we're helping people through their breakthroughs and also their breakdowns. There's a lot of emotional capacity to hold as a coach. I do coach people individually. I think of it more of advising or mentoring than coaching. And also, I'll only work with 2 or 3 people at a time because I know that's my capacity. And I want to be able to serve people in a way that's really effective for both them and myself. And then when it comes to online courses, it can take 6 months to build a good course. And it's easy to just kind of lose momentum and never even get it out there. That's what happens to most people. Or you're building something thinking this is what somebody wants, and then you put it out there and it turns out nobody wants it. And that is heartbreaking. That's going to give anyone like the feeling like, I can't do this. So now that we're a little more clear on like, yeah, you just leave your corporate job and monetize your expertise and find out like, oh, that's a lot of emotional labor on my part in the form of coaching, or that's a huge investment of creating an online course. I'm going to show you some quieter ways that we can do that. These 5 quieter ways of monetizing your expertise are particularly valuable for highly sensitive and neurodiverse folks because, first of all, there's a lower exchange of energy. You can work on your own time frame. So it's an asynchronous process where you're not meeting people face to face. So there's less nervous system impact. Human beings are highly contagious, not just germs, but our nervous system state and our emotional state is highly contagious. So you can reduce that by having these techniques. And also it's going to be earning you money while you rest. Not 100% passive, but someone can be purchasing something when you're not there with them. And so that's a really great methodology. So let me share those 5 things with you right now. The first one is templates. It sounds simple, but people are looking for frameworks, checklists, standard operating procedures. The woman I worked with from the HR, she knows the procedures. So she can have a new employee onboarding checklist that she can sell to other people in HR. And they're going to be like, oh my gosh, thank you. Or someone who's starting their own business, or someone who has a small business and they're looking to do their first hire or their first few hires. This woman has an incredible skill set that she can bring to them, and she can sell these standard operating procedures, these templates, and these checklists. So think about your area of expertise. What is it that you know like the back of your hand? One way to find out this better, because you're like, I know it, doesn't everybody else know it, right? We forget how unique our skills are, but it's to ask yourself, what are people always asking me about? What are people always coming to me for? Like, hey, how do I do this? How did you handle that? You can turn that into a template or a checklist, sell it for $27, $97. It really depends on the urgency of the problem that the person buying it has and needs to solve. So that's one way to monetize your expertise. It's a low dollar, but it can be high volume. Lots of people would want this. The next one is guidebooks, workbooks, or toolkits. So these are a little more involved. Again, it's your zone of genius. What is it that you're really good at, that you've learned how to do and how to explain in a way that really gets people results? That's all we're doing, is solving problems for people. People will pay to have their problems solved. Even if they could look it up and find out about it on the internet, or even if they could have AI do it, people oftentimes want another person with real world experience, and that's you, to help them solve their problem. And you can do that in a form of a guidebook, a workbook, or a toolkit. You can kind of think of this as like an interactive ebook. It might be 40 to 60 pages and really takes them through your methodology, what you've learned that works. Again, it can be something from your corporate career, or it can be something that's a personal passion of yours. I am interested in learning how to do mosaics. I would like to make mosaic stepping stones, and I have no idea how to do it. I imagine it involves breaking things and putting things into a pattern. But if there's an expert out there who knows how to mosaic, I would buy a workbook or a guidebook that shows me how to do that. So it doesn't have to be your professional expertise. It can be something that you're personally passionate about that you can monetize. The third one is memberships or membership libraries. Now, I have one of these and I call it the Crone's Nest, and I love it. The anchor point of this membership community is a monthly new moon online mindset sessions. We get together, we talk about the energies of the new moon. And then in addition to that, it's like a Facebook group kind of environment, but it's on my website. So it's very curated, it's very cozy and quaint, and people interact there with each other. A membership library would include, like, think of like Netflix. There's always a video to watch. You're never going to run out of videos to watch. So if you have a ton of content, or you can generate a ton of content that you want to, give us something new each month, like, hey, here's my new recipe for this, or here's the new strategy that works for this particular problem you have to solve. So a membership community is something where people can pay month to month, or they can pay annually. And it doesn't matter if there's 10 people in there or 100 people in there, they're all accessing those resources on their own. And so if you like to facilitate community involvement, memberships are a great idea. Or you don't necessarily have to be involved with the community aspect. It can just be a library. Like, there's no community aspect to Netflix, right? It's just a library of videos. The fourth way to monetize your expertise is to license your intellectual property. I'll give you a couple of examples that make it obvious. Yoga Fit is a yoga teacher training program that has licensed their trainings. So the person who created Yoga Fit isn't training the yoga teachers. She systematized her process. She made a methodology. She sold the training package to other teacher trainers. And those teacher trainers are now training the yoga teachers. And she sits back and takes that licensing fee. So people pay to take the training, and they pay to maintain their license with her so they can continue to teach her brand, her Yoga Fit brand. So that's an example of licensing your intellectual property, and you're getting paid for that intellectual property without having to deliver the content yourself. Another example of this is like assessment, a personality test, Myers-Briggs, Clifton Strength Finder. I know there's a bunch out there now about human design. So they created these systems, these assessment tools, and then people get licensed to deliver and interpret these assessment tools. And the people who created the tools aren't the ones delivering it. They're the ones receiving the licensing. So it's kind of a little bit like a franchise, but there's nothing physical involved. You don't have to worry about clearing ice from the sidewalks in the winter. The fifth way to quietly monetize your expertise, and I really love this one, I call it async consulting. So asynchronous just means that you're not face-to-face or Zoom to Zoom. You can do it like they'll give you their problem or question or concern. They can do it in a little recorded video. There's a video service called Loom where you make little quick 5-minute videos and you can go back and forth with videos, or email. So they'll give you their problem or their question, and then you respond basically on your own time. You can give them a 24-hour turnaround. You can give them a 48-hour turnaround. So this works really well for soothing your nervous system. If you get 5 requests in a row, you can spread them out in a way that suits your schedule. If you're an early morning person, you can knock those 5 responses out before 8 a.m. while I'm still in bed sleeping. And then you've got the rest of your day free, and you're providing expert resources for your clients. So how this would work is that, let's use the HR example again. This woman is working in HR, and an HR person has a question. They can be like, hey, let's talk through this. Then she can make a video walking them through that solution. Now, I offer something like this, which is called a biz audit. Someone will fill out a questionnaire. I made a Google survey, and they'll fill out the questionnaire like, where are you in your business? What's your biggest pain point right now? Give me a link to your website so I can look at it and see what the language is like. Tell me who your ideal client is. Tell me what you're wanting to get out of your business this year. Like, what's your goal for your business? It's not always purely income goal. And then Share with me any social channels, like are you on YouTube? Are you on LinkedIn? And they'll fill that survey out anytime on their own. And then when I get the notification that that survey has come in, then I will spend a couple of hours going through their website, looking at their language. Does their language match what they told me they want from their business? Are they inviting people to join them in a way that's very clear? So they can be like, oh, here's my next move. I'll take it. What does it look like out on their social channels? And I'll record all that on a video and I'll send that video back to them. And this works great actually, because they can stop the video, take action on something that I've suggested. They can go back and repeat and watch it again. And so that's a great example of, it's kind of like coaching or consulting, because you're sharing your expertise, but you're doing it in an asynchronistic way. This kind of proportional income matters because you get to work during your good energy windows, and bad health weeks don't zero out your income. You're not managing other people's nervous systems in real time, and your business can tick along while you rest. Your expertise can be packaged in ways that protect your energy. The goal here is to transfer value without transferring your life force. In yoga philosophy, we understand that prana, or life force, is precious. We don't waste it, we direct it wisely. And the same is true in your business. Your expertise can be packaged in ways that honor your energy. Your knowledge has value, but you get to choose the container. Not every valuable thing requires your presence. Sometimes the most generous thing you can do is to make your wisdom available in a way that lets people access it on their time and protects yours. You spent decades accumulating this knowing. It doesn't have to cost you your peace to share it. So here's a few tips. You absolutely can do this on your own, and you want to test it with 5 to 10 people before you go big. Like, find people who would be the ideal person to solve this problem for, and just let them try it out and get their feedback on it before you get it out there in a bigger way. And price it like the time saver it is. Don't be like, oh, it's just a piece of paper, it's $11. Like, this is going to solve a huge pain point for you. It's $97. So think about pricing it with the results, not the size of object it is, right? So test it out first. Price it like it matters, because it's going to solve a problem for somebody. And then also just pick one. If you're like, ooh, I could do that and that and that, that's great, but start with just one. Start with one, test it out, get some traction on it, let it fly. And then if you want to start a second one, go ahead. It usually takes about 90 days to get something up and running. So give yourself some grace. There's no get quick rich. There's no passive income. Just take some effort to get things started, like pumping a well. You got to pump it for a while. You got to trust that the water is going to start to flow before you see it. And then when the water starts flowing, you're still going to have to pump it, but not as continuously. So that's how that works. If you would like some help with this, you can schedule a laser session with me where we can just sit down, get super clear on your expertise and how you can turn it into one of these quiet streams of income for yourself. Or if you'd like some ongoing support, please consider joining the Aligned Income Collective, which is a 9-month small group mentoring program where everyone is building their autonomous stream of income in a quiet way that's nervous system friendly. We're not going big. We're not doing $1 million launches. We're not doing paid Facebook ads. None of that. It's a lifestyle forward, nervous system friendly approach to an autonomous stream of income after 50, because that's when freedom matters more than money. But we still want money to pay the bills and to travel and to do whatever it is that we love to do. So I'm going to wrap this up with a story. My nephew used to work in LA for musicians. And he was basically a coach for musicians, a business coach for musicians. So all the musicians in LA, they want to make it big. You know, I just saw Paul McCartney live in concert last week. Oh my gosh, it was amazing. Everybody wants to be like Paul McCartney. Nobody on earth is like Paul McCartney or ever will be. He can fill a stadium of 50,000 people at age 83 and put on an amazing concert. But everybody wants to make it big. They want to hit the big time. My nephew coached these musicians to be like, hey, if you can get consistent gigs and you can sell your CDs, this was a while ago, and you can make back then $40,000, $50,000 a year. Right now, that would probably be $60,000 to $80,000 a year for inflation. But that's a great life. That's an amazing life. You're a professional musician. You're getting paid to do the work that you love. So a big part of his coaching was with that mindset shift. Like, you're not going to fill a stadium, but you can still be a successful musician. You can still be a professional musician and get paid to do the work you love. And that's really the methodology that I use. It's like, we're not going for this massive $1 million. If you want to, that's awesome. This is still a good way to get started. But really, it's just like, what's going to support my lifestyle? What's going to cover my bills? Can I be a professional entrepreneur without being like Paul McCartney? And that's really a lot of what's being sold out there on the internet. When you look at like, monetize your expertise, leave corporate America, make $1 million. And that's not what we're doing here. So you can be a professional entrepreneur. You can earn a living monetizing your expertise. And this is the way to do that. So if this is meaningful for you, if this makes sense to you, please like this video. Please subscribe to the channel. We're going to go on and on about this. And share it with a friend who also is looking for an escape route from corporate America, or who has already left and is looking for ways to monetize their expertise as well. Thank you so much for being here.